On Boxing Day, Tokyo, Japan, Naoya Inoue and Marlon Tapales are set to battle it out to become undisputed in the 122-pound division. This is a matchup with many expecting the Japanese monster to once again get a convincing victory. But could this hard-hitting Filipino southpaw cause some problems for the Japanese star? In today's video, I'm going to take a look at both men and the potential tactics come fight night. So on that note, let's get right into it. Let's start off with the monster. Going into this fight, Naoya has a tremendous knockout rate at 92%, with only 3 men being able to take him the distance. However, once again he will have a very different challenge against the Filipino, who does boast stopping power in this division, while also recently proving his ability at world level, winning the WBA and IBF in a split decision victory. However, going into this, I suspect both will be looking for the knockout in this one, and the monster cannot overlook the nightmare of Tapales. Interestingly enough, Inoue has already beaten a Filipino southpaw recently in Dasmariñas, where it only took him 3 rounds to take him out, and of course uses brutal body punches to finish him off. However, it was an interesting tactical approach from the monster in this fight, where we saw him look to put more pressure on his opponent, cutting off the ring to trap him on the ropes or corners, while also using a probing jab. But when the monster had him where he wanted, he would use sharp, powerful jabs before unleashing the right hand, while using the transfer of weight to leverage those devastating left hooks to the body. A punch that can be actually hard to get off versus southpaws sometimes. But it was also helped by the fact Naoya is so good at constantly changing the variation of his punches from head to body. It always forces opponents to be indecisive in terms of where they should defend. Should they use a high guard or put their hands in a lower position to protect the body? It's an intensity that not many opponents can handle, or should I say, have handled. Naoya's foot placement with southpaws is also interesting. He will of course get on the outside position when throwing the jab straight hand left hook, which getting that outside position is a typical tactic that is encouraged in righty versus lefty encounters. But he will also go against the norm by stepping on the inside of the line versus the southpaw, while throwing his sharp jab, giving him the quickest route of access to set the southpaw up with his powerful right hand, as they are usually right on the line for it. However, with Tapales, he does usually bend quite far to his left and tries to get behind his lead shoulder, so Inoue will need to take his time here, or potentially throw a lower looping right hook or uppercut to catch him. I also believe Inoue's counterpunching could play a factor in this fight. Tapales does use that lower lead hand or will throw out the looping right hands, and I wouldn't be surprised if Inoue can catch him with a counter left hook if he is trying to keep Inoue off him or even looking to put the pressure on him. I think going into this fight, Inoue's experience versus southpaw has only lasted 16 minutes so far. So once again, no doubt I believe he'll be up to the challenge to finish off Tapales to become undisputed. But it will be interesting to see how Inoue will approach the fight. Will he be more the aggressor like we've seen in the past? Or, as he's still adjusting to the super bantamweight division, could we see him take a much more calculated approach, waiting to counter Tapales with single shots, before setting him up later as the rounds go on? For Marlon Tapales, I'm not gonna lie, I think this could be a tough night for the Filipino. He's coming up against a guy who is arguably in the prime of his life, and could very well be on the hunt to take him out early. Saying that, it could play into Tapales' favour if the monster is too overconfident of his abilities. Tapales is a gifted counterpuncher himself, and due to his low centre of gravity, it really helps him to get the leverage to catch opponents off guard, especially with the lead right hook, or with well executed body punches in the phone booth. In my opinion though, his lead right hook is the money punch for him, which can do some serious damage if it lands. However, as I said before, he'll need to be careful when throwing this out, as Inoue is very good at countering with the left hook. Tapales also fights at quite a slow pace, looking to stand his ground, giving him more opportunities to plant his feet so he can throw his power punches. But I feel for this fight, we'll need to see him be a bit more agile on the back foot, as Inoue has tremendous footwork. But in the same respect, I think you'll still need to get Inoue's respect early, as for him to get off any of his power punches, you'll need the monster to be more stationary and fight at his pace, which once again is a tough ask. Tapales can also be quite slippery himself defensively, mainly getting himself behind his lead shoulder, using rolls while waiting to block right hands with the left before countering back himself. So maybe the best chance is for him to counter in between the punch combinations of Inoue to offset him. But this once again is a very risky move. But maybe it could be his only chance to really get his respect early or even catch him. And while I'm not saying fighting in the phone booth versus Inoue is the best way to beat him, I do believe smothering Inoue's work at times will be important, especially for him to set up body shots himself while minimising the damage the monster can do. Overall, I'm expecting Inoue to win on Boxing Day, however he has only fought once at this weight, and will be in there against a much bigger puncher compared to Fulton. Tapales, being a southpaw, could also throw in a few surprises if he's to land early, especially with that right hook. Nevertheless, Inoue has been here many times before, and he's constantly developing and getting better with every fight. Hopefully we can get a Boxing Day cracker to determine who is the best at 122 pounds. This has been Jamie from Boxing Life. Enjoy the fight when it comes, have a great Christmas, and I'll see you in the next one.